Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a good day. If not, hopefully this video can cheer you up. So we're taking it back on my channel. So if you guys know, my first ever video was a story time. It did really well. So I thought today I'd bring it back. You know, what could possibly go wrong? Today I don't actually have a story for me because my life's not that exciting. Once you jump off a cliff once, you tend to lay low for a bit. So yeah, I got a story from one of my friends, one of my closest friends. And by closest friends, I mean a random person who posted this online. So thank you for that, random account 123. Before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button. If you don't, you'll be abducted by aliens, and you don't want to be abducted by aliens and them to do weird experiments with you. No, you don't want that. So hit the like button to make sure you're alien free. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, I have a teacher, let's name him Mr. Kevin. Now, Mr. Kevin was a pretty okay meh teacher. Like, if I had to rate him at the end of the year for like a survey, I'd probably rate him 5 out of 10, you know. Like, he's the definition of average, you know. He wasn't the greatest, he didn't let you watch movies whenever you want, and he wasn't the worst either, you know. He wouldn't make you sit in silence and do textbook work. He was a pretty meh teacher, standard teacher, just average, nothing special and nothing bad. So anyway, one day Mr. Kevin wasn't in because he was ill or something like that, and we had a substitute for him. Now, of all the teachers you want to get a substitute for, you'd usually want a teacher who was annoying and you just hated all round. However, you know, that's always the teachers who seem to be in all the time. Like, honestly, all the good teachers are the ones who get sick all the time, and all the bad teachers are the ones who are in every single day. It's like they live there. So anyway, we had a substitute for Mr. Kevin. Now, the thing about Mr. Kevin, he taught geography. Now, the geography teachers are usually bad, so he was one of the good ones. His room was next door to one of the worst teachers in the entire school. I'll name her Miss Susan. That'll be important for later, but she was one of the worst teachers. Like, when I say worst, I mean most strict teachers in the entire school. So Mr. Kevin's room was right next to Miss Susan's room. Anyway, so the substitute teacher's inside the class waiting for us to get in. So everyone gets into the class and sit in there, and you know, we're just waiting for her to, you know, talk and see what, because usually when you get a substitute that you've never had before, which was let's name her Miss Lucy. So Miss Lucy is our substitute teacher. We'd never had her before, and usually you'd have the same set of substitute teachers, so you always knew which substitute teacher was which. You know, there was the funny one, there was the I'm gonna call your parents one, there was this I'm gonna report you to the head teacher one. You know, you had the same set of teachers of substitutes, so you know which was which, so you know which one you'd want, which one you didn't want. Anyway, so we'd never had Miss Lucy before, so Miss Lucy's inside waiting for us to get in. And the thing is, when you get a new substitute teacher, you usually try to test the waters, you know, try to see what she would let you do and what she wouldn't let you do. So, you know, everyone was just trying to do that, trying to see what the boundaries were, trying to see what the limits to their power was. So anyway, everyone was in on time, ready to get the lesson going, except one of my friends named Max. So the substitute teacher had started explaining what we're going to be doing in the lesson. So then Max walks in, couple seconds late, about 30 seconds late, and he goes and takes a seat, because 30 seconds late, no one's going to really care about that. He just goes and sits down. He doesn't think anything of it. However, the substitute teacher felt disrespected and personally attacked. She turns around and goes, "Excuse me, who do you think you are coming into my lesson late?" So then he goes, "Oh, miss, I'm sorry I came in late. I was just talking to my other teacher about what happened during the lesson, and I'm sorry I'm late." And he just carries on sitting down. And she goes, "How dare you?" She was mortified. It was as if Max had grabbed her baby and punched it in the face repeatedly. She goes, "How dare you come into my lesson late and then just sit down acting as if you own the place. When you're late to a lesson, you stand outside, you knock on the door and wait for permission to enter. No, like, how dare you act like you own the place? Like, do you know how it feels to come in? Look at all these students who come in on time. Do you know how it feels to come in on time and then watch you be late?" And then she turns to the class because she thinks we're gonna back her up or something. Like, no one cared. Like, Max can be 15 seconds late. You know, if anything, Max, do what you want, bro. Be late. I don't care. Like, no one cared that he was 15 seconds late except for her. And she was like, usually in my school, when you're late at all, you stand outside, you knock on the door, and you say, Miss Blair, please have permission to walk in. So Max is trying to be, you know, respectful. He said, oh, miss, I'm sorry, next time I'll do that. I didn't know. And then Max is trying to be respectful. He's not trying to cause a big scene or anything, because Max wasn't one of those kids. So immediately that lets everyone knows how the rest of the lesson is going to go. You know, you come in 30 seconds late, she screams at you. So this catches the attention of the teacher next door. I think her name was Miss Lucy, something like that. So this catches the attention of Miss Lucy. So she comes in and goes, because she heard the substitute shouting, obviously. So she comes in and goes, Miss, is everything alright? And then she goes, yeah, I felt it's just Max came in late. And then she played it, so it looked as if Max was like 10 minutes late or something. She's like, yeah, Max came in late, he was disrespectful, you know, he didn't tell me why he was late. So then Miss Lucy takes Max out the lesson and goes, alright Max, come with me, let's have a chat. And when teachers say let's have a chat, that's never good. Anyway, Max is taken out the lesson. Everyone from then on is just like silent, you know, they're not trying to get taken out the lesson either. Except this one kid. Let's call him Jeremy. Or Jeremiah. Before Miss Lucy takes Max away, Jeremiah stands up and goes, Miss, Max was only a couple seconds late. No one thought it was that big of a deal. And then our substitute teacher turns around, looks at Jeremiah and goes, you as well? How dare all of you try to disrespect me like that? Anyway, Mrs. was like, Jeremiah, sit down. She takes Max out of the lesson. That was the end of it. So she starts going over the lesson plan. And this this poor student, he left his phone on and his phone started to ring. And she just turns around and goes, what is that I just heard? And then she's just angry. She's straight angry. She's like, what did I just hear? And then the kid who it was, he was a good kid, you know, he wasn't gonna start pretending it wasn't him. He stands up and goes, oh miss, I'm sorry, it was my phone, I accidentally left it on, it's alright if I turn it off. And she goes, how dare you? You know, you come into my lesson, your phone should be off. Why do you even have that in school? She's like, give me your phone. And he's like, no miss, can I just quickly turn it off and put it away? And she's like, don't talk back to me, give me your phone. And he reluctantly gives her his phone. And then he just sits back down. But Jeremiah was having none of it. He was gonna have the homies back. Jeremiah stood up and says, miss, you're not allowed to take his phone. And she's like, sit down young man, otherwise I'm gonna have to call your principal. And he's like, miss, you have to give him his phone back. He left it on by accident. He was trying to have the guys back. So the substitute just ignores Jeremiah. So anyway, she starts going over the lesson. You know, Jeremiah, he does this thing where he just constantly asks questions. You know, she would go, so this is the work you have to do. And Jeremiah would go, miss, can you please explain it again? I don't really understand. She would explain it again, and Jeremiah would go, please explain it one more time. He was trying to test her to the limits. So Jeremiah kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and finally, she snapped back at Jeremiah. She went psycho mode. She was like, get outside. She started screaming. She told him to get outside. I never want to see you again. So then Miss Lucy comes back in, because Max was with her or whatever. So she comes back in. She goes, right, what is going on in here? And then this substitute teacher started crying. She started fully crying. She started going, these kids, they're the worst kids I've ever seen in my life. And literally, everyone was perfectly behaved except maybe Jeremiah and Max. She started crying. She goes, I can't deal with the stress. Every single time these kids are talking back to me, they're being rude. And then she goes, and Miss Lucy goes, right, is there any you can pick out in particular? And she points at Jeremiah and she goes, him, that one. And then Jeremiah's like, don't you dare point at me. Because Jeremiah's like, he's already in trouble. And he's like, if I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to get in trouble for something I actually did. So Jeremiah goes, don't point at me, how dare you. So then Miss Lucy's like, right, shut up, get out, come out with me. And then Jeremiah's like, no, why? I didn't do anything. So they just keep going back and forth like that. And then eventually Jeremiah goes outside. And then one of the kids goes, miss, are you okay? Because she was crying, and you know, he was a nice kid. And then she goes, shut up, don't you dare talk to me again. So for the rest of the lesson, everyone was just in absolute fear of what this teacher was. She could cry on command to get her way, and it was quite a hilarious story. That's the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. By the way, Mr. Kevin came back the next day, and everyone was relieved. She never came back to the school again, that substitute teacher. I don't think anyone ever saw her again. So I think the teachers had enough of her. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, thank you and goodbye.